Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. This episode we have Netflix 428th film from 2021. It's the French romantic comedy called Friendzone. It's directed by Charles Van Tieghem and stars Mickael Lumiere, Manon Azem, Fadily Camara, Danino, and Constance Arnoult. I am Jesse, I am your host. Thank you for joining me today for this Netflix original film journey. As always, if this is a film that you haven't seen yet and you're interested in checking it out, give us a pause and come back a little bit later on, because I'm going to spoil this movie as we go through this episode. So, we start our show with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one's about a man who struggles with confidence in the love game. So his female besties try to help him out. There we go. If that sounds like your cup of tea, maybe give this one a watch. Other than that, let's get into the breakdown. So on Netflix, their logline for this film is: lovable, nerdy Thibault has always been there for his gal pals. Now it's their turn to help him find love. Ready for the ultimate makeover? ? There we go. And then while you're watching, it goes on to say, hopeful romantic Thibault believes his luck could change when sparks fly between him and Rose. But can he go from bestie to boyfriend? Again, ? Ooh. Okay, so obviously the title, friend zone, is the idea that this guy is always in the friend zone with girls. He's got no clue how to actually make a move on a female friend, or not as necessarily a friend, but any sort of female. So around the world, in Spanish and Russian, it's called I love you as a friend. That is exactly the same as friend zone. In Portuguese, it's called the best friend. In Japanese, it's called we've always just been friends. In Romanian, I like this one, damn platonism. In Chinese, I'm not a male best friend. In Korean, forever boyfriend. In Turkish, we are just friends. And in Arabic, it's called friendship field. Mickael Lumiere, I think is how you say his name, the guy who plays the main protagonist, Thibault, he had to actually work hard to downplay his natural charisma to play a guy who gets ignored by women in real life. His social media presence was blowing up during production. There we go. And the crew reportedly joked that the hardest part of the shoot was making him look like a loser. There we go. So obviously a bit of a heartthrob in France. This one hit Netflix worldwide on the 29th of September 2021, and it was filmed in, I believe, Paris and around France, even though some of the shots maybe looked a little bit CGI. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? So if we head to Rotten Tomatoes, there's only one review from critics. That's fresh. The audience, however, sits at 88%. That's on more than 100 ratings, so that's fairly high. On IMDb, it's got a bit under 5,000 ratings. It sits at a 5.9 out of 10, so that's a solid score. We go to Letterboxd, it sits at a 2.3 out of 5 on a bit under 8,000 ratings, but it's been logged by 11,000 people, and there is nothing on Metacritic about this one. So you'd have to say it's very hard to get a consensus on this film. So what are my early thoughts? It's not that bad a film. It's not the type of film that I enjoy, but it's got its moments, even if some of the over-the-top European sexual references and some poor dialogue probably bring it down for myself personally. All right, the director, Charles Van Tieghem. This is his feature film debut. He's directed, I think, 10 episodes of a TV show called La Bourse in France and has a few writing credits. So obviously in and about the French industry. But let's talk about the characters. What do we learn about these characters in the film? So Titi is our main guy. Thibault, I'm going to call him Titi. So he's the definition of a nice guy. This guy is literally can do no wrong. He works as a nurse in pediatrics in a hospital. His three best friends, they're all females who he has feelings for, but all of them have pushed him to the side or in the friend zone. And he's such a nice guy that he goes as the only male to his friend Alex's bachelorette party. So when love comes knocking on his door, or this girl called Rose rocks up, he struggles, and again is put in the friend zone. So if we talk about his three best friends, we've got Maud. Maud is a lesbian. She teaches Titi how to get fit and goes for some runs. Lulu is TT's co-worker who teaches him how to dance. They share an apartment, and she's always leaning on him for money, as she doesn't have as high a job as him. I think it's sort of revealed that she wants to go to med school so she can be like him, but she doesn't earn as much as him. And then Alex, or Alexandra, is the other friend. She's the one that's getting married and is going to have a baby and those types of things. So Rose is the girl that TT falls for, but she sees him more as a friend, especially seeing as she's just broken up with her boyfriend, and her role is that she designs baby clothing. So this makes way for lots of baby jokes, I guess, throughout the film. Jennifer is this high-end influencer. She loves her Instagram, and TT, I guess, is able to woo her after his best girlfriends give him a bit of a makeover. And it's quite clear that it's probably more a sexual opportunity for him, as he's still very interested in Rose. For Jennifer, I guess that she's typical in that she thinks the Instagram lifestyle is the most important thing in the world. There's even a line of dialogue where she mentions that her job as an influencer is more important than TT being a nurse and saving children's lives. So a little bit on the gross side there. The only other character I'll mention is Bruno. Bruno is Rose's ex. Apparently he's a rapper, but we don't hear him do any rapping. But he just seems like he's so cool, like in a really sarcastic way. But Rose ends up going back to him. But he's just this sleazeball and lusts after Maud, even though she's a lesbian and has no interest in him whatsoever. So this is just a guy that is the grossness of all grosses. Let's talk about some scenes. What are some scenes that worked? What didn't work? There's stuff that worked. TT, he builds up the courage at the start of the film to go skinny dipping once all of his best friend girls have gone. So it's pitch black at night. You get to see his bare bum. That was quite a bit of a reveal. And then the hotel cleaner comes and takes all his stuff. So he's stuck there in the nude as Rose comes out, gets bitten by something in the ocean. He has to save her and run around the hotel carrying her naked. So that was an okay setup. And then TT goes on another date with Rose once they're back in Paris, and he buys her a gift, which is because she loves children's fashion. So he's bought her a book on kids' fashion in the Middle Ages. I just thought that was funny. TT, he takes Jennifer to... So Jennifer's the Instagram influencer, goes on a date with her and then takes her to the kids ward of a hospital where they go for it behind, and it's done like a comedic sort of shadow thing behind the glass window, and the kids are on the other side looking mortified. That was quite funny. Maud, she gets hit on by Bruno at the end. He's gross. She opens the blinds so that the whole party can see him with his pants off, and there's people in the background just saying, "Oh, it's so small." So I don't know, I laughed at that. And TT realizes that he needs to chase Rose because she's moving to Spain. He doesn't want to lose his chance, so he's in the hospital bed. He's working at the hospital, so he runs out of the hospital, and then he gets hit by an ambulance straight away. Then it cuts to like this vision of his funeral and Jennifer doing selfies there and stuff like that. Plot-wise, it was annoying that it was like this fake flash forward, etc., but I didn't mind it. It was okay. The things that didn't work, at the start when TT's sitting by the pool before he goes in and does his skinny dipping, and like his friends are all off skinny dipping, this guy comes over to him and cracks onto him, asking him if he can go to his room with him, and TT's like, "Well, I'm into girls," and this guy just laughs and walks off. I don't know, it just felt not needed. There's a joke that TT jerked off to the Little Mermaid, and his response was, "I was in the 7th grade," so apparently that makes it okay. I don't know, I thought that was weird dialogue. TT being taught how to use his thumb on a woman. It just dragged on, and it was very repetitive, like the idea of tapping and small circles, up, down, hooks, wrists, etc. It was just on the nose. TT, he has this full blow up at his 3 best girlfriends about being sick of being their guinea pig. I don't know, it just felt unneeded and not fair on them. And then TT, after this blow up, he ignores these girls for months, and then all of a sudden they make up, and the first thing Alex asks is if he'll be her kid that's coming's godfather. I don't know, that just felt weird. And then the final jumping on top of a truck by TT to profess his love to Rose, and then he runs up the stairs and kisses her, and then his 3 girlfriends are there at the bottom, and then everyone that's sitting down on chairs and tables at the bottom of the apartment are all clapping. I just felt anyway. What's the film trying to say? A bit of a mixed bag. The idea that they push TT to change because women don't date nice guys, I think this is probably a bit of a poor message, but it sort of leads to that idea, I guess, that nice guys often finish last. But then there's that mixed message, I guess, about people that change are better. Like, I don't think TT was better when he changed. He was better when he changed back to himself. But in saying that, like, the idea that he needed to speak his truth and voice what he actually felt or wanted or needed, and I think the idea that you need to feel good in your own skin, I hope that sort of comes through in the end. And friendships are very important too, because friends can make mistakes, but they usually have genuine intentions at heart. And then also, this is played on a few times when TT explains his job, but that good intention or the good idea of working in the public sector and doing the right thing and helping others too. This was a Netflix connection that I took away from the film. TT's packing, ready to go to Rose's house. He thinks he's in with a chance. She opens the door and she's like, I've got my period. Let's eat pizza and watch Netflix. I mean, films sure know how to reference their creator. We were seeing this quite a bit, especially with some of the international films. They like to drop a little Netflix reference in there as well. But in saying that, the soundtrack in this, there's some good songs. There was that Would and It Be Nice song. That was good. There was that remix of What's Love Got to Do With It by Kygo. And then Somebody to You plays at the end, which was really good too. So some good music in this film as well. All right, some questions, some pondering, some thoughts to finish this off. The idea, like, how can you empathize with TT throughout when he becomes a complete fraud to who he actually is? Like, his friends change him into someone he's not. Like, what's wrong with a nice guy who's happy to please others and who says all the right things and does all the nice things? That felt weird. And then I mentioned I thought this scene was okay and quite humorous, but if everyone in the hospital heard TT having sex with Jennifer in a kids ward at a hospital, how did he keep his job? Because there's reference from Lulu saying everyone heard about it. I don't know, that felt weird. And then obviously there's this big deal about TT helping with these sick kids, but in the back end of the film, he's like sitting in this room with this old guy playing music to him while he sleeps. I thought it was very confusing because the idea was that he was helping children. So I don't know, is this old bloke a kid that has excessive aging or something? I'm not sure. Confused. And then obviously this is a European film, and often there's this over the top approach to sex that often can be a little bit cringeworthy, which I sort of mentioned in the scenes that I wasn't a fan of before. Other than that, I'm ready to wrap this one up. We give the film a rating out of 5 on this show. I've definitely seen worse kinds of this film. It's not too bad, mainly because of the casting and situations of the narrative, I guess. However, some of the dialogue and moments, they're a little bit cringeworthy. So I'm giving this a 2.5 out of 5. It's an okay score from me. We're on socials. We have Facebook. We have Instagram, and we have X, formerly known as Twitter. Give us a follow, give us a like if you can, share some of our posts. The question I wanted to ask in relation to the end of this film is that TT literally just packs up his life and moves to Spain to follow Rose. So would you pack your life up and move for someone that you barely know? Because realistically, these guys, I don't know, it felt weird. I don't know. I'd find it hard to move for someone that has been barely showing an interest in you love-wise, just thought of you as a friend the whole time. So there's a lot of learning to go for TT, I think. Other than that, we are back next week with another film from 2021. This one, it's switching up. It's a supernatural horror. It's called No One Gets Out Alive, and it's directed by Santiago Menini and stars Christina Roldlo and Mark Menchaca. There we go. Haven't heard of this one before. I'm in for a bit of a scare next week. Hopefully it's got some good, scary scenes in it. Other than that, I will see you then. Thanks for joining me today.